Why does a bass line loop? Is there any reason why it has to? Think about it for a minute and you'll realize that there's no reason why it can't extend and develop co-equally with the melody, air quotes, in a given song. To prove it, let's rework a conventionally written funkhead so that the bass line forms a co-equal melody in this way. First, to imitate this conventional approach, let's pick a short bass line. Here's what I've come up with. Next, let's copy and paste this bass line a number of times and write a melody over it. Now, this approach obviously works, but we would be wrong to assume that this is the only approach that works. So let's see what happens when we rewrite the bass line so that it extends and develops across the length of these 11 measures, just like the treble melody does. Clearly, this works as well, and in some respects it works better. It's more complex for one thing, and it uses devices like imitation that require a higher level of cognitive engagement on the part of the listener. You also have this sense in which the two co-equal melodies, which work and are sufficient as musical units, combine to form this larger macro unit, which is greater than the sum of its parts. The original construction, by contrast, primarily featured just one melody unit. At the very least, this approach to composition/songwriting represents an option, one which is just as viable as any other. So why do so few people write like this anymore? Just because counterpoint, air quotes, capital C, is associated with Baroque music, doesn't mean that the Baroque style is the only one in which the technique works.